everybody. You have reached another edition of the NRW Checkpoint. As always, you're joined by myself, WebsterStyle, the man, the voice, the fragrance, and of course, my man, Brian Sapph. Brian, how are you today, sir?
Doing okay. How are you?
Good, man. I'm good. It's another week of fabulous, wonderful games. That's what we're here for, right? So let's start off with 2 Point Campus. Now, this is a game that is dropping on Game Pass. In addition to, it's going to be available for PlayStation platforms, Xbox platforms, Switch, as well as PC. But I've seen this advertised on Game Pass for months that it was coming. And again, I'm like, what the hell is a 2 Point Campus? Well, apparently 2 Point Campus is a simulation and is a sequel to the 2 Point Hospital game where you basically, it's a business simulation game. So here we go with those simulations again. But in this case, you're actually running a college campus. And I'm like, I thought the for-profit industry went out of business a couple of years ago. Apparently they just did it in video game form. So it is actually published by 2 Point Studios, appropriately enough, and developed by 2 Point Studios and published by Sega. So apparently this is a very anticipated game. In the original game, 2 Point Hospital actually debuted in 2018. So they have taken their sweet time really developing this game and bringing it to the forefront. So I'm sure for all of those business management simulators out there, it's definitely going to be a game that they are going to love.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the other simulators you could play, like, yeah, let's go ahead. Simulate a college. That's, the more we discuss games on a weekly basis and these simulators come out, the more I'm just like, maybe it's something there. Because
it's definitely a market. It's definitely just not one for us.
Right. But I think about it though. There are a few like mobile simulators I've gotten into like over the years. Just sometimes you'll be doing something and an ad will pop up and it's like, oh, this game. You're like, oh, I would like to own a dispensary or something, and I tried and it's like fun. So maybe I should look into the PC side of things.
I'm pretty sure they're not fun, really, but it's just one of those things. Sometimes when you hear that word simulation, it just, instead of simulation, your brain hears boring.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
And again, I played a couple simulators in my day as well, and they've been pretty much very interesting. If not anything, I would definitely really sink a lot of time into. But I give kudos to those developers who develop simulations, because a lot of them, and especially with something like a 2 Point Campus, understand, it's very intricate. You go down all the way down to the lesson planning and things of that nature. So it's a lot of detail and work that goes into a lot of these games. So hats off to those developers.
Yeah, and then they turned around and made it available for everybody. It's Xbox is there, PlayStation is there, Switch is there. So
PC, yep, anybody can get it.
Yeah, all right.
All right, next up, we have not a simulation. We have Lost in Play, and that's going to be found on the Switch and the PC. In an adventure game. Now, in this game, go on a feel-good adventure with a brother and sister as they explore dreamscapes and befriend magical creatures. Lost in their imagination, Toto and Gal must stick together and solve puzzles to journey back home. Now, this one I was reading up. The developers were inspired by old school Saturday morning cartoons, and we actually going to see a lot of that and how that plays out in the trailer. And it's a lot of point and click elements as well, from what I understand. So we're seeing somewhat of a resurgence with the point and click genre, especially when it comes to consoles. It seems like.
That's cool. I'm interested to check the trailer out for that one. You said Saturday morning cartoons, and I was like, oh, this is where we at.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Interesting. I've been playing a lot more of As Dusk Falls lately. First of all, that game is intense. Very intense. Oh my goodness. But that point and click sort of story driven game, I think I've only finished one chapter so far, but it is really a fun and intense game to play. Very much reminiscent of the Telltale Walking Dead series, especially when you play that first one. It's like that intensity that you felt with those games, you feel in this. So obviously, Lost and Play isn't intense like those games, but you're going to get a lot of those point and click sort of game elements to the game, at least based on what I saw for the trailer. So that's only for Switch and PC. So those of us that don't have a Switch or PC kind of left out in the dark right now.
It's okay. You guys will get it eventually.
Next up, we have Call of the Lamb. Now, first of all, excuse me, Cult of the Lamb. Now, first of all, when I saw the title, I'm like, what?
Right. Cult of the Lamb.
And the description is just as kooky and crazy as the name. So this is a game that's going to be found on the PlayStation Family Systems 4 and 5, Xbox Family Systems, obviously One, S, and Series S and X, Switch, as well as PC. Now, this game is an action game. Get this, Brian. You play as a possessed lamb. Right. Starts all crazy. Saved from annihilation by an ominous stranger and must repay the debt by building a loyal following in the game or in his name. Collect and use resources to build new structures and so forth. Perform dark rituals to appease the gods.
Okay.
Exactly. This is another one of those games where we say, what were y'all taking to come up with the story for this game?
Yes, somebody had some dark visions there.
Yes, they did. So I'm looking forward to watching the trailer for that one as well.
Yeah.
That the premise alone sounds like, okay, yeah, we have to watch the trailer for that.
Why does the lamb have to be possessed? What's the possession part about? Why a lamb? And do they call it a flock? What's the flock? Is it a
why not? Yeah, why not an aardvark? Well, I guess a lamb, sheep, flock. I see where you're going with that. But why not an aardvark? Or, an echidna or duck-billed platypus? Like, does that really change any of that? I don't know. But it's interesting premise nonetheless.
Yeah,
so,
that sounds interesting.
And then the last new game for this week is Rumbleverse, and this is going to be found on the PS4, 5, Xbox One, SX, Switch, and PC. This is from Epic Games proper. Rumbleverse is a battle royale fighting game with wrestling and classic fighting elements developed by Iron Galaxy. So Iron Galaxy did a lot of work on the second half of the Killer Instinct game that's on Xbox. So a lot of the later seasons was done by Iron Galaxy before Epic bought them, if I remember correctly. So players are tossed into Capital City where they put their skills to the test, but projectile weapons aren't allowed in this universe. So it's all fighting, grappling, wrestling sort of battle royale. So it looks interesting. We're watching the trailer for that as well. Shortly after we talk about this next game, which is going to be very familiar to, well, probably everybody watching this. So Marvel Spider-Man, which originally came out on PlayStation 4 and then remastered for 5, developed by Insomniac, if I remember correctly. It is now being ported over to the PC. And Brian, I wanted to ask you, as a PlayStation owner, what is your take on Sony bringing these prominent titles over to PC?
My take on it?
Yeah. Like your opinion, someone who's been in the PlayStation camp for, a very long time.
Very long time, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about that? I'd ask you simply because as someone who's had an Xbox since 2002, that's not uncommon. Most Xbox games, Microsoft is a PC company first. They made PC games first. So that's not unusual. And especially with the last generation, this one, if it comes out on Xbox, it's definitely come out on PC as far as first party titles are concerned.
Right.
With Sony, I think this God of War and I think one of the Uncharted's are now like this is the first time they've dipped their toe into PC. So as a gamer, someone who is, again, I would never call you a fanboy because I don't, you're a gamer just like myself. But it's someone who's been very much in that camp. What's your viewpoint on what they're doing?
Well, personally, I feel like it's more of Well, we know, okay, so let's look at it from this angle, right? We know Sony itself to be a tech company. Like,
Right.
yes, we have the PlayStation brand underneath the umbrella and things like that. Like, that's Sony's console or whatever. Generally speaking, though, they're more of a tech company. Them all this time not having their games go over to PC, especially when they develop software and hardware for PC, it didn't necessarily make sense. So I guess with Sony now having access to this kind of Marvel title, I feel like they're like, okay, well, shit, let's expand it. Let's try to make all the money we can off of it. I also feel like the fact that Sony itself has the rights to, Spider-Man, and well, in a sense, we have a thing going on with Sony
Right.
and Marvel, and Spider-Man's like in the middle, stretching both sides. This also, okay, let's put the game over there. Money play. I can see that being a very much a big thing. Let's try to capitalize as much as we can off of this actual character and the property that we have with them. And then on top of that, this particular game is one that's like, I don't know, for whatever reason, well, not for whatever reason, it's a good game. It won a bunch of awards. It's very, very like highly rated, critically acclaimed, all that good stuff. I just feel like they expanding the amount of money they can make off it at this point, because I don't know if you would call it a part two, the Miles Morales like extension of the game. I think they're working
Right.
on porting that over to PC as well. I think they just really want to use this Spider-Man cash cow that they have, especially given that everything else Sony as far as movies are concerned, and even tech. We haven't had Sony phones and laptops in a while. I don't know. They're just trying to make money. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's a. Oh, let's try to get some of the PC players over to PlayStation. I feel like most PC players either have an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Switch. Like they have a console for TV. So I don't think it's like a steal your fans kind of thing. I think they just like, oh shit, Sony like owns Spider-Man. So let's like
Right.
try to get as much money off them as possible.
Right. Now, I see it just as you see it, as far as it's a smart play to make more
Mm,
money and bring more people over to your product, not so much for PS4 or 5 sales,
mm,
but really getting more people to buy copies of the game, especially with them buying, was it Nixus? Now they have an in-house studio that has expertise in porting games over to PC.
mm.
So they don't have to outsource. They save money in doing that process. So essentially,
Right.
they are it's a low cost investment for them to port it to PC and
Exactly.
to resell a game that's what 4 or 5 years old now. And
Right.
especially when it's going to get a lot of hype on PC or on a new platform. I guess my what I was very surprised with, as before we go forward into the trailers, was the number of fanboys who had their panties in a bunch over Spider-Man and God of War. Not so much Uncharted though, but they were really pissed about Spider-Man and God of War being brought over.
Yeah. And it's honestly looking at the fanboys, that's more of a, oh, we just don't like Xbox and Microsoft kind of thing. Because we being honest, like in terms of PC games, it's either gonna be like Steam or some, or
Right,
Xbox and Microsoft that have a stake in that actual
right,
realm of gaming. Sony has not necessarily took the steps that it needs to in order to create like a PlayStation ecosystem or just a Sony PC ecosystem within the gaming PC realm. So they're like, oh, this is one of the titles that like really set it off for the for
right,
PlayStation 4 and 5. And so like Spider-Man's coveted over on this side of things just because it's always been over here on this side of things.
right,
I think the first Spider-Man game that came out for console was on a PlayStation. Like this is a long history of having Spider-Man here, and us just being like he's exclusive to Sony and PlayStation, and we don't want him to go anywhere else. But I really don't care. Like I played this game already. I've beaten it already. Like it's a great game. I would like for other people to experience it. And I know that they're gonna make a lot of money off of it, especially with the promise of like the Miles Morales thing coming to PC as well. So if it helps out, it helps out. I'm not I'm not tripping. Like
ultimately Sony's a business, and we've seen they've made a lot
Right.
of decisions this generation that most of us don't like, whether you're a PlayStation fan or not.
Right.
Yeah, they're very much about money, and
Exactly.
their
And if
motivation show.
you care about Marvel, like you say you do, this is for the people watching. You want this to happen because for now, Sony has all of the, a majority of the rights and the properties to like the whole Spider-Man universe, pretty much. Like
Right.
all of the big bads are pretty much over on Sony side. So if they're pushing this game out onto PC, trying to make some extra money, be happy about that, because that means we will get better villain movies. Morbius didn't do as great as people thought it was going
Hold on,
to.
back up. No, we don't want Sony to make any more movies.
They already working on stuff, man. They're supposed to be having
No.
like this.
Hey, look, except Into the Spider-Verse. That's the only one they got right. Everything else, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But game-wise, we know they got Spider-Man locked. We know they got Wolverine now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they may have other properties in their back pocket. They've got exclusive Marvel, but we'll see. But again, games, they're all about money. So me personally,
Absolutely.
I think it's a good move. I think it's
Me
a very
too.
good move for them to put it on PC. And
I agree as
especially
well.
I think that I read that they're working with Steam to optimize Spider-Man and make sure it runs well on the Steam Deck as well. So they're trying to dot all the I's and cross all the T's with issuing this port out to PC.
They definitely should do that, because I'm looking at it like Spider-Man is very, very like popular for obvious reasons. But then just as a title and a property, like I don't see anything else in Sony's arsenal that's like overstepping Spider-Man and everything he brings to the table. So you definitely need to do that. And I don't know, I discussed on my podcast maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago about them implementing new they have like new monitors and headsets and things. Like Sony's there, I don't know, they're in their bag right now as far as trying to get more product on the shelf for people to buy. This is only going to help. Like having a game over there that's like highly rated. Good job.
Exactly. So that's it. Well, like I said, Marvel Spider-Man, y'all know what it is. We don't really need to explain it. Let's get into our trailers. First up is Rumbleverse.
The Rumbleverse. Now, we have a lot of verses happening these days.
That's exactly what I thought of when I saw it.
This is like a epic game put together. Dangerous, call me the revolution. Teach the class. This looks like greatest of all time, no disputing. Mercy's over, it's time for retribution. Showers, who got the power? Cue up the bass drum, turn it louder.
It reminds me of a.
I like that. You like that? Let's party. I like that.
But there's an open world.
Let's party. I've been a minute since Dennis. Show them that I got minutes. Handle the business.
If I say open world, it's not brother.
Wherever the crew going, I'm ready. So tell me who want it. Too fast, too high, Fortnite. Yeah, we on it. We go wherever the crew going. I'm ready. So tell me who want it. Too fast, too high, too funny. Too fast, too high. Yeah, we go wherever the crew going. I'm ready. So tell me who want it.
The characters are definitely imaginative. Right.
Oh, free to play. Okay.
Okay, I was about to ask that question because it looks like a free to play sort of title.
It need to be free to play.
Yeah, for real.
Definitely. And this reminded me, I feel like this a cross between Knockout City and
I got that vibe too.
Fortnite.
Yeah, I definitely when the trailer first started playing, I got that Knockout City vibe by the colors and the aesthetic and the sort of art design. Yeah, I think that's a perfect way of really describing the cross between Knockout City and Fortnite.
Yeah, but like no guns.
Yeah, right.
It looks interesting though. I wouldn't mind giving it a try.
Yeah, free to play. I'll definitely try it out.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Lost in Play.
Oh yes. Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic.
I love that, and I can't say it's really this generation because this is coming out on the Switch. But I love the fact that we can do this in games now. We didn't see that in like the 360 PlayStation era like that. Like as far as this level of like you're playing a cartoon.
Right.
You know, you really didn't see that much. I think what that South Park
demo.
Seventh District Democratic came out on that generation of systems, but that was pretty much about at least a 6 out in my mind. So it looks pretty cool. It looks like that the trailers and the full motion really extends into how the game looks as well.
Yeah, this looks fun.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
I definitely got the Saturday morning cartoon vibes. Anytime you have a game drawn like that, and then there's these elements of like, oh, there's a face in the clouds and all kind of like that's definitely Saturday morning imagination running wild. Rugrats, Phineas and Ferb kind of cartoon fun.
Definitely.
It looks cool to play.
Oh yeah, definitely. It looks really cool. Let's see if this one looks really cool. And next up we have is 2 Point Campus.
Oh, our simulator. Okay. Yeah. Taking me back to school. Congratulations.
What is education? Here at 2 Point Campus, we aim not only to pose that question, but also to ask it. Over the past however many years, you, our graduating students, have demonstrated a laser-sharp focus on your studies. You've broken new ground, as well as loads of other things. And even outside of academia, our fledgling cheeseball team have shown that, well, in their case, things can only get better. Today, as we unceremoniously, that were a long word, dump you into the outside world, we truly do hope that all your plausible dreams come true. So go forth and ask the important questions, like, can I have one of those biscuits? I know you are, but what am I? And why are we wearing these silly hats?
Okay, so you can make any kind of, so you can make your own hardware.
Right.
Okay. 2 Point Campus, enroll now.
That looks interesting.
It does. I kind of want to play.
Yeah, that looks very interesting. I can't say I'll get through this week, but it'll definitely put on my list to play on Game Pass.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that out. That looks interesting. I really like. They said, okay, we're not just gonna do college, high school. Let's do all the schools. Like we got some Wizarding World schools in there. We got this cheese ball sports team, somebody DJing, like that should look kind of fun.
Yeah, it does.
I want to see like how everything plays out. I want to see that.
That was a good trailer. It was a really good trailer to get you excited about it.
Very, very endearing. I really congratulations. That was dope. Our speaker up there just telling, being real, like you about to get dumped into the outside world. This is the important things you need to know.
All of you who have graduated college, especially those that are graduating right now, you understand what that means.
When you get here, right, you'll definitely understand.
Ah, boy. Well, that was 2 Point Campus, and our last trailer for the week is, well, it's probably going to be the nuttiest, and that is Cult of the Lamb.
All right, now. And they put it on Switch. It better be funny. pig.
Don't do it.
Right.
Yo, own your soul. Is that a grave?
I don't know what that is.
Yep.
Hello.
Oh, it's Devolver. I should have known.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all I gotta say is this. The developers for this game were drinking Kool-Aid with something in it. It had to be. There's definitely some Kool-Aid involved in this one.
But
if you don't get that reference, you need to look it up. Because you're clearly too young.
Yeah, I'm looking at this trailer and I'm like, hey, this might be something fun to play. Just pass the time. I'm really interested because it looks like there's I don't know, that looks like there's like layers to the story.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely want to get my hands on that one. That may be something I actually purchase. That looks really cool.
Yeah. And is this only for Switch? Let me see. Oh no, it's
everything.
Yes, okay, great. I like little games like that where they have this odd and quirky premise, and then as you delve deeper into the game, you find out more. Because it looked like we're gonna start off, rescuing this individual, and then the camp on top looks normal, but then when we transport it to the underworld, it's different down there.
It's a cult. Nothing. It looks normal. That doesn't mean it is.
Right. And I really like when developers make these kind of trailers where it's like, oh, this game is obviously, not taking itself super serious, but then like the trailer is very like cinematic.
Right.
I like that.
So that's our take on Cult of the Lamb. Is definitely probably, I don't know about you, Brian, the highlight of the week as far as
trailers go. Big surprise there.
Yeah,
I'm ready for that.
It was really crazy. Like I didn't even watch it. Like I just found the lake. I'm like, all right, we're watching it. So that was my first time seeing it. I was like, well, you saw my eyeballs. Like, this is
that underworld scene or whatever. That was great. I'm ready. I'm interested in playing this.
So, Brian, what do you have coming up this week?
Nothing too serious. Another episode of the Talk+Play blerdcast whenever I decide to do it, and then I'll be here on the checkpoint. Otherwise, I'm probably on social media talking about something. Who knows?
Right, got you. And of course, you can find me at the Sartorial Geek Podcast with WebsterStyle. 121 is out now. By the end of the week, 122 will be out. I still know what I'm talking about, but I figured out about 4 weeks over record something. But of course, you are with the nerds rule the world. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the NRW. Make sure you follow on Instagram at New Release Wednesday. And of course, you're currently on YouTube. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Please and thank you.
Thank you.